Rosh Hashanah Tova. Have you ever turned on a radio and said, "Oh my goodness, this song is terrible"? Any of you? Yes? Okay, and have you ever stopped to think that the song that you think is the worst song that was ever written is someone else's all-time favorite song? You ever thought about that? You know how it goes, and we've all been here. Your friend recommends a book to you, and she said that this book was life-changing, and you read it and you wondered, what book did she read? Or that must-see movie, and I'm not gonna mention the movie now, but everyone in the family, everyone in the community is talking about this movie, and you rush to the theater or you rent it, and you leave with the feeling that you're never gonna get those 2 hours of your time back. How many of you read reviews of restaurants before you go? None of you? All of you? Most of you? Isn't it a wonder how one person raves about the subtlety and artistry of the decor, while another calls it pretentious and boring? Or the one who writes in their review that it was the most healing bowl of soup they ever had, while another says, "I wouldn't serve that to my dog." I always wonder, are they even talking about the same experience? And if so, who holds the truth? Which one is right? The answer, according to our Jewish tradition, is both. We learn in a midrash, and my students in the back can probably tell you exactly what this midrash was, is that the Torah was not given in a clear-cut manner. For every matter, God gave Moses how many reasons?
49.
That it can be pure. And how many reasons can it be impure?
49.
You heard it, 49. For those of you at home who are watching, 49 reasons why something can be pure and 49 reasons why something can be impure. That is to say that every law, every ruling, every piece of Torah, God gave Moses both sides. And this wasn't a flaw in the system. It was the system. Truth in Judaism is not a conclusion. It's an ever-evolving and changing conversation. And you can see this in our Torah portion that we will read this morning, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. Some commentaries see Abraham as the hero of faith. Others see the story as a trauma. Same text, same words, totally different interpretations. Why? Because of context. Let me show you what I mean with 3 examples. 3 different commentaries from 3 different centuries, all reading the same story through different eyes. Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, wrote in medieval France, and he sees Abraham as the ultimate servant of God. He doesn't question God's command, he obeys it. He rises early, he saddles his donkey himself. It's all about emunah, it's about faith. And in Rashi world, that made sense. He lived during the time of Crusades when Jews were literally dying al kiddush Hashem while sanctifying God's name. The idea of sacrifice wasn't just theological, it was real. So Rashi reads the Akedah and sees heroism, obedience, faith beyond logic. And then we have Sforno, Rabbi Ovadia ben Yaakov Sforno. He reads the Akedah and zeroes in on Abraham's ability to withhold. He says that the test was not whether Abraham would kill, but whether he was willing to go that far and still stop himself. A different kind of strength, moral restraint. Sforno is writing during the Renaissance, a time of growing philosophical exploration, where reason was beginning to be valued alongside faith. So he sees Abraham's greatness not just in action, but in moral awareness. And then there's Nechama Leibowitz, my favorite Torah commentator, a modern Israeli commentator, a brilliant teacher who we lost too soon. She looks at the Akedah and doesn't see faith. She sees trauma. She writes that Isaac never speaks to his father again after this moment. She sees silence, estrangement, wounding. She was writing just a few years after the Holocaust, after the world had seen parents and children separated, families torn apart, and God's presence painfully absent. For her, this wasn't a story of triumph, it was a warning. So what do we do with this? Rashi saw faith, Seforno saw reason, Nechama saw trauma. They were all reading the same story, the same Hebrew. The difference was when they were reading and interpreting Torah, and how their reality shaped the way that they understood the text. The fact is that Torah doesn't change, it stays the same, but the world around it changes, reality changes, truth changes. And I think the same is true when it comes to how we talk and think about Israel. As I've shared openly since my very first interview here at Temple, I am an unapologetic Zionist. I believe deeply in the vision of Israel's founders, a homeland for the Jewish people rooted in democracy, dignity, and safety. I believe in Israel's right and obligation to defend itself so that every citizen within her borders can live in freedom and security. I believe that Israel is essential not just to Israelis, but to Jews everywhere around the world. And here's the reason. The foundation to my connection to Israel didn't start in a textbook in Hebrew school or on a birthright bus. It didn't even begin when I was a kid visiting family in Israel. To me, that was just a place where you went to go see some family. It began in 1991, the first Gulf War. I was just a teenager watching CNN as Saddam Hussein launched Scud missiles towards Israel. And Dad, you could probably remember that my own family was there, hunkered down in their apartment in Haifa, wearing gas masks and waiting to see if the next missile would fall on their street or on their home, waiting to see if the air would be safe to breathe. Back then, there were no built-in bomb shelters in people's personal apartments, and there was no Iron Dome missile defense system. We couldn't do anything. I just remember sitting on the phone with our family, wondering what was going to happen as we watched this unfold before our eyes. And friends, those moments etched something deep into my soul. Israel became more than a place on a map. It became more than my family trips. It became my people. It became personal. And I felt it all over again on October 7th. That same gut level fear, that same sense of helplessness, that same protective instinct for our people. We are now 2 years into a war that continues to break our hearts, and again, Israel's very existence feels threatened. We are grieving, we are defending, we are fighting for our very existence in our Jewish homeland and in our place as Jews around the world. So when people speak about Israel today with detachment or harsh critique, it hits something deep in me. Because my truth was shaped during a time when Israel's existence was truly threatened by a stronger outside force. But here's the hard truth that I've come to see through the lens of the Midrash that I taught, that there are 49 reasons why something can be pure and 49 reasons that something can be impure, is that the people who are speaking are not wrong. They're just standing in a different place. with a different set of experiences, looking at the same story. They are holding their 49 reasons of truth while I am holding my 49 reasons of truth. And that's why conversations of Israel are so complicated and so important, because we are not all looking at the same Israel. For some of us, especially the older generations, Israel is the miracle. It's the comeback story. It's the answer to 2,000 years of wandering. For others, especially younger generations, Israel is a country like any other, imperfect, extremely powerful, and morally complex. Many younger Jews see the conflict through a completely different lens, shaped not by 1991 or by 1973 or 1967 or 1948, but what they see today in 2025. Some see David with a slingshot, others see Goliath in a uniform. Same Israel, different truths. And once again, timing matters. So the question isn't just who has the truth. Because if, according to the Midrash, both hold truth, then what we really need to be asking is something different. How can we find a way to bridge the gap and listen to each other instead of speaking at or past one another? We may not hold the same opinions about Israel. We may not all see the same Israel when we close our eyes. But I believe that there's one truth that binds us all together, is that we speak, we struggle, we care, we argue because we love Israel. Our disagreements are painful because we care so much. And that love is the one thing that we can return to when everything else feels uncertain. We should not be afraid to have these conversations. We don't have to silence ourselves or each other because love makes that space. It's sacred listening, and the sacred listening that we engage begins with the same humility that I spoke about last night, the humility to step back and take up less space. There's a remarkable teaching from the Talmud that says that 50 gates of understanding were created in the world. All but one were given to Moses. Think about that. Once again, we had the 49 and 49. 49 reasons why one can be pure, 49 reasons one can be impure. But 50 gates of understanding were created, and even Moses who spoke panim el panim, face to face with God, only God, 49. That means that any one of us, the most that any one of us can have is 49 out of 50. And that's not a flaw. That's an invitation. It's an invitation to make space for someone else's 49. My Musar teacher, who I quoted last night, Alan Marinis, taught me that when I am practicing anava, humility, I need to begin with the phrase, no more than my place, no less than my space. I want all of us to repeat that. No more than my place, no less than my space. Once again, no more than my place, no less than my space. That space is created by your willingness to let go of needing to be 100% right. That's the sacred space that leads to deeper understanding, healing, and unity. When you let go of needing to be 100% right, you can listen with sacred ears and make space for someone else's 49. And if we're really listening to each other, we will walk away with something much closer to understanding. We are living in a moment of deep fracture. especially within the Jewish community. It is so painful to see friends walk away from each other, families stop talking, synagogues and schools struggling to hold space for a full range of views, colleagues dismissing each other. All this while the world seems increasingly hostile towards us. So let's return to a poem that I shared last year by Yehuda Amichai, at the same time last year. It goes like this: from the place where we are right, flowers will never grow. From the place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard, but doubts and love dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood. That's the whisper Amichai spoke of. Gentle, sacred, and true. It's not the voice of certainty, but the voice that's willing to listen. Not the place where we are right, but the space where we make room. Let us open our hearts with the humility to let go of being right. Let's listen to each other with compassion and understanding. And may we begin this new year of 5786 as one people, with one heart, one hope, and one unified love. Our love for Israel, our love for the Jewish people, and most importantly, our love for each other. May this be God's will. We say, Amen. And so it